Chapter 308, Million Year Spirit Ring and Million Year Spirit Bone, TL by Bagelson. Tang San nodded. Let's go. We'll go down to. While speaking, he held Xiaobu's slender and flexible waist and descended from the sky. Before he had landed on the surface of the sea, Xiaobai had already moved over, just in time for him to set down. Xiaobai looked at Tang San with eyes full of gratitude. Even though it might be said that for Xiaobai, eating the deep sea demon whale king's corpse would be of considerable benefit, that still wasn't equal to the effects of the pure energy from the draining gold threads. This kind of method was not only direct, it also omitted the bother of eating the corpse. Even though Xiaobai was a carnivore, she had lived for 100,000 years and had no interest in the old chewy deep sea demon whale king. Even more importantly, Tang San had not only helped her, but moreover used the draining gold threads to raise the strength of her 7 kinsmen. This was an obvious benefit to the devil spirit great white shark clan as a whole. As clan chief, she was naturally excited. There's no need for thanks. You know we already consider you as a friend. Tang San didn't stand on ceremony and directly sat down on Xiaobai's back, patting her. Xiaobai sighed. Tang San, I've always believed humans, especially humans outside of the Sea God Island, are extremely treacherous and cunning, but after getting to know you I've learned that humans also have good and bad parts. You are undoubtedly the best human I have met. To tell the truth, I'm a bit ashamed. Originally I still thought to keep that thing to myself, but a peach deserves a plum in return, and that should be yours to begin with. I shouldn't overthink it. Once you've finished absorbing the deep sea demon whale king's spirit ring, you have to split open his head. There you'll find something very useful to you. Oh, Tang San looked a bit astonished at Xiao Bao, but he didn't say anything else. He had already spent a lot of time in order to be able to absorb as much as possible of the deep sea demon whale king's energy, and he didn't want all of his efforts to be wasted. Besides, the deep sea demon whale king's spirit ring wasn't so easily absorbed. A million years of cultivation. Who knew what kind of trouble it would be to absorb? Patting Xiao Bai's back once again, Xiao took initiative to leap to the back of another devil spirit great white shark, leaving more space for Tang San. Tang San took down his sea god trident from the 8 spider lances on his back, laying it across his knees. Light flashed in his eyes, and raising his left hand, he once again summoned the clear sky hammer. Compared to when he fought just now, the clear sky hammer was visibly much smaller. Without all its 8 spirit rings, it could only maintain its basic shape. However, on the surface of that black hammer, the scarlet red death god domain pattern was even clearer. From it, Tang San instantly again sensed the presence of that energy that determined the outcome of the battle with the deep sea demon whale king just now. And at the same time as he summoned the clear sky hammer, Xiaobai clearly trembled a bit beneath him. Xiaobai was a 100,000 year spirit beast, and that she reacted this much just from slightly sensing the clear sky hammer's presence showed what kind of level it had reached. No, it should be said it was how terrifying the presence of the death god domain was after evolving. The sea god trident brand on Tang San's forehead brightened. He absolutely wouldn't blindly go absorbing the deep sea demon whale king's spirit ring. If he did, he would very possibly drown in calamity. Only by adequately exploiting all that he could would he be fully assured. Illuminated by the sea god's light, a hazy blue light appeared on the clear sky hammer. Tang San waved his second spirit at the deep sea demon whale king, and simultaneously released his mental power. A strange scene appeared. Without any control from Tang San, the red spirit ring light inscribed on the clear sky hammer suddenly released, and without drawing any support from Tang San's spirit power, intense red light instantly wrapped up the hammer. Even the sea god's light that Tang San shone on it was instantly dispersed. What was going on? Tang San clearly felt the red light emanating from the clear sky hammer actually reject his sea god's light, but before he had time to think more, an intense purple light surged out from the deep sea demon whale king's enormous body, quickly spinning and condensing in the air, just like when Tang San fought the deep sea demon whale king before. This surging purple light formed an enormous whirlpool in the air, and then flew at the clear sky hammer in Tang San's hand. At such a moment, Tang San no longer had any other choice. He couldn't possibly give up on the deep sea demon whale king's million year spirit ring. Tang San was certain that even though his strength would leap up after reaching the god level, the stronger he was before that, and the stronger his spirit rings, the greater his strength would naturally be after becoming god. His future opponent was the god of angels Chen Ringshu. If he wanted to fight her, he had to surpass her in all respects. Consequently, Tang San didn't hesitate, quickly pulling out a crystal caterpillar sausage with his left hand. At the same time as he swallowed an erect goldfly, the clear sky hammer swung, summoning that purple whirlpool. The clear sky hammer radiated red light, instantly erupting with incomparable aggressiveness. Tang San could clearly feel Xiaobai sink below him, trembling violently. Clearly, she was extremely unsuited to the energy released by the clear sky hammer. If it was like this before he had even started absorbing the spirit ring, then once he truly began, wouldn't it be even easier for variables to appear? In that case, it would be better not to use Xiaobai's foothold. I'll absorb the spirit ring in the sea. All of you retreat some distance. Shouting, Tang San leapt up, pushing off Xiaobai's back, going to meet the deep purple whirlpool. The red light emanating from the clear sky hammer was like a terrifying maw, suddenly revealing its sharp teeth at that purple whirlpool. Strangely, the instant that purple whirlpool came into contact with the clear sky hammer's red light, it somehow instantly grew well behaved and poured inside the hammer as obediently as rivers pouring into the sea. Tang San instantly froze in midair. He only felt an unprecedentedly enormous power suddenly rush into his energy channels, and let alone controlling his own energy to resist. In this instant he couldn't even react. He only felt his mental world explode, his mind blanking out. To the eyes of the others, right now Tang San had instantly turned purple. Even the clear sky hammer in his hand had turned purple, and then fell straight down into the ocean. With a splash, he disappeared under the surface. Very quickly not a trace remained. Don't do anything without thinking. We'll listen to Tang San and retreat a bit. Xiaobai called, making the anxious Shrek 6 devils wake up. At the same time, she released a blue-grey light, controlling the sea currents to slowly bring away the deep sea demon whale king's enormous corpse. Even though his spirit ring was already pulled out, there was still a lot of benefits left in the body. The cool seawater couldn't approach Tang San. The reason he fell so quickly was that the purple energy surrounding him directly pushed away the seawater, bringing him towards the bottom of the sea. In fact, the place where the deep sea demon whale king lived was obviously the deepest marine trench within 10,000 li of ocean. Tang San only felt the light around him grow darker and darker, and the energy within him also surged more and more violently. The process of absorbing this spirit ring was already completely out of his control. Submit to the will of the heavens. Tang San gave a wry laugh in his heart. The clear sky hammer seemed glued to his hand, without flying away. What Tang San didn't see was that on the clear sky hammer wrapped up in purple, the death god domain originally inscribed only on one side of the hammer was now spurred by the purple energy to quickly grow, the red pattern becoming more and more condensed, and spreading to each corner of the clear sky hammer. At the start it was just a hammerhead, but after it was covered in red lines, it once again began to spread down the haft. Very soon, the entire clear sky hammer was densely covered by this red pattern, but this still wasn't the end. After that red pattern occupied the clear sky hammer, it began to penetrate into the hammer. A scorching heat was felt from this. It was also because of the intimidation from this strange red light that the enormous deep sea demon whale king's spirit ring energy pouring into Tang San didn't explode. On the contrary, it was the clear sky hammer that was constantly melting in the process. This process was very strange, and besides being unable to move, Tang San felt his left hand seem to change, even though he couldn't budge, because of the weight of the sea god trident in his right hand when the clear sky hammer in his left struck the whirlpool. Right now he was facing down, both arms holding weapons and hanging down. Consequently, he could see his left hand's transformation. The clear sky hammer wrapped up in purple light couldn't be seen, but Tang San clearly saw his left hand gradually turn from purple to red, and this red was also quickly spreading. Along with the change in color, Tang San only felt his left hand and right arm grow icy cold. That red really wasn't hot like it looked, but on the contrary an intensely bone-chilling cold, a chill filled with killing intent. But conversely, this killing intent aura was also filled with a just and honorable vast energy. Was this the variant energy of the clear sky hammer? The red light spread all the way to Tang San's left shoulder before it stopped, repeatedly circulating inside. Tang San could feel that when his left shoulder changed, that purple energy was gradually absorbed. Moreover, he had lost his connection to his titan giant ape left arm bone. Just as Tang San had no idea what was going on, suddenly, the red light that had originally stopped in his left shoulder suddenly moved, and it moved with the weight of 15 tons of thunder. Piercing cold instantly spread, passing through Tang San's shoulder straight to every corner of his body. The red light only didn't invade a range of 10 centimeters around the sea god trident brand on his forehead. Ruthless, overbearing, tyrannical, all kinds of intense moods filled every corner of his body. He clearly felt how even the sea god trident brand trembled slightly from the invasion of this red light. Could it be that this red light made even the power of the sea god feel a trace of fear? Just what has my death god domain changed into? Just as Tang San was feeling a bit frightened, this red light transformed yet again. It quickly focused on the 6 spirit bones within Tang San's body. He only felt the spirit bones chill, and an enormous energy wave almost made them explode, the violent pain forcing him to vomit out a mouthful of blood. Strangely, the blood Tang San vomited out didn't scatter in the seawater, but was rather directly absorbed back in his skin. Tang San had originally expected that if the enormous energy from the deep sea demon whale king's spirit ring was absorbed, it would definitely intensely attack the energy within him, and he would have to rely on the sea god's light to restrain it, absorbing it drop by drop. But this absorption process didn't progress as Tang San had expected, let alone that the sea god's light was entirely useless. The deep sea demon whale kings didn't even cause him any trouble. The entire process was instead led by the clear sky hammer in his left hand, as if only the clear sky hammer's energy could control his body. On the surface of the sea, everyone waited anxiously. Suddenly, Xiaobai's expression changed. The midsection of the deep sea demon whale king's corpse she was protecting suddenly vibrated intensely, just as Xiaobai wanted to suppress it with her energy. With a loud blast, a giant hole blew into the deep sea demon whale king's body, and immediately, a purple bone flew out. That was a bone like a spine, but there were still other bones linked to it. It was the spirit bone. It was lustrous purple like made from amethyst, but most strange was that it released energy in the form of a small whirlpool that carried it along. Indeed, this was the spirit bone a spirit beast past 100,000 year would produce, and it was also a spirit bone produced according to what Tang San as the killer needed. To spirit masters, among the 6 necessary spirit bones, the most important one was the torso spirit bone, and this was also the spirit bone Tang San lacked. Everyone noticed that there was a line of red light connected below this purple spirit bone, and even the purple whirlpool surrounding it was unable to influence that red light. The seawater split open strangely, as if cut with a knife, exposing a small crack. With a whoosh, this amethyst-like spirit bone instantly disappeared inside, shooting straight towards the bottom of the sea. Watching all this, the 6 devils couldn't help simultaneously breathing out. Clearly, Tang San absorbing the last spirit bone he needed, and that he still had the energy to absorb it proved that he was in no danger. But they had no idea that Tang San was now under unspeakable suffering. Just after that red energy condensed on his 6 spirit bones, constantly pouring ice cold energy within, the sea god trident brand on his forehead couldn't take it anymore. Intense golden light radiated from the sea god trident brand, illuminating a large stretch of the sea bottom. At the same time, 6 lines of golden light surged from the sea god trident brand, pouring into Tang San's 6 spirit bones. The ice cold feeling was instantly dispersed, replaced by the scorching heat so familiar to Tang San. One icy and one hot. This extremely cold and extremely hot feeling was in no way pleasant. A long time back, Tang San had experienced this kind of ice and fire when he absorbed the octagonal mysterious ice grass and the inferno delicate apricot. But compared to then, this time the feeling was even more intense. The octagonal mysterious ice grass and inferno delicate apricot were only purely hot and cold, but now the sea god's golden and death god domains transformed red went as simple as warm and cold. The sea god's gold contained vast, bright, sacred energy, and the death god domain's evolved red contained was brimming with vast, terrifying slaughter energy. These two were incompatible and immediately clashed, and the battleground was naturally Tang San's 6 spirit bones. The most beautiful one still wasn't Tang San. The enormous purple energy that belonged to the deep sea demon whale king's spirit ring should originally have been extremely terrifying, but in the clash of the red and golden light, its purple light was basically suppressed until it didn't even dare twitch. Moreover, as the red and golden light struggled, they also constantly absorbed its energy to strengthen themselves, as if competing to see who could absorb fastest. Even though the deep sea demon whale king's spirit ring energy was enormous, it still disappeared drop by drop under this kind of intense absorption speed. How did his spirit bones become battlefields? Tang San couldn't keep from screaming. Suddenly sacred, suddenly slaughter, suddenly ice cold, suddenly scorching hot. These two kinds of presences moreover contained different moods. As they constantly transformed, not only was his body in pain, even Tang San's soul seemed to be torn in two. Just as Tang San felt like he was on the verge of collapse, suddenly, a purple light fell from the sky. Before he could react, that purple light had directly merged into his body. Instantly, the purple light that was just stelling from the absorption of the purple and golden lights abruptly intensified, and even those red and golden lights were suppressed a delay. Tang San also finally had a chance to catch his breath, doing his utmost to urge his mental strength to condense in his mind. At the same time, in this brief instant of control, he immediately smashed the sea god trident and clear sky hammer against each other. He vaguely felt that the transformations of his body was related to the two weapons. Tang San thought correctly. However, the instant the clear sky hammer and sea god trident struck each other, trouble returned again, because the deep sea demon whale spirit bone joined in. The deep sea demon whale king's million-year spirit ring energy exploded again, suppressing the golden and red energies, and abruptly rose again as these two weapons clashed. Terrifying slaughter energy and vast sea god sacred energy erupted near simultaneously, and the beautiful deep sea demon whale king's powerful energy was instantly suppressed once again. The gold and red clearly weren't as powerful, but it still didn't dare resist. And at this moment, Tang San also clearly felt an intense power resound in the bones of his chest. His physical attributes quickly rose, and his originally faintly golden internals almost instantly turned completely golden. Moreover, that golden color was quickly spreading through his veins, flesh, blood, and bones. Torso spirit bone? Tang San immediately understood, but he didn't understand was where this spirit bone came from. He hadn't summoned it. However, along with this spirit bone joining him, Tang San's previous pain was also alleviated a lot, as if because his resistance rose, even though those cold and hot energies alternated even faster. Tang San felt as if they had weakened a lot. However, something that both excited and worried Tang San appeared at this moment. After colliding with the sea god trident, the purple energy that originally enveloped the clear sky hammer shattered, exposing an evolved clear sky hammer covered with dense red patterns, brimming with intense killing energy as if a major killing tool. But the sea god trident hardly took it lying down. The long vanished golden light once again reappeared with the golden light bizarrely emanating from the brand on Tang San's forehead. The intense divine presence and that intense slaughter presence dazzlingly reflected each other. Heavens! Do they want me to split in two? Tang San could understand the sea god's energy, but what was this red energy? The energy equally appeared within him. So why did the sea god's energy want to reject it so? Perhaps it should be said that they were rejecting each other as if fighting for control over the 6. No, now it was 7 spirit bones within him. Right now Tang San very much wanted to say, go ahead and fight, but can't you put me unconscious first and wake me up once you're done? But this was in fact clearly impossible. Even though he was in pain, Tang San was also exceptionally clear-headed, so much so that it even made up for his exhaustion in his battle with the deep sea demon whale king. As both sides constantly clashed, Tang San gradually discovered that the changes in his body were also growing more and more distinct. Everything inside him had turned pure golden, not only covered by light, but golden all the way through, deep inside. This meant that his body had already reached the god level. Tang San had once carefully considered the circumstances of Chen Rinchu's body. He knew the gold represented the god level. When Chen Rinchu used her greatest strength, her skin once turned pure golden. That should probably only appear for a true god. Through absorbing this spirit ring and spirit bone, regardless of the meaning of the two fighting colors, at least his body had still changed. Their battle would always have results. He just hoped this result wouldn't be too bad. To him, the worst result was both taking half of his body. If that really happened, Tang San feared he would have nowhere to cry. Facts proved that luck was always on his side. As time passed, Tang San discovered through the stronger and stronger pain that it was still his sea god's power that held the advantage. First of all, the sea god trident brand held the most important spot on his forehead, and while the red light wanted to force its way in to control the head spirit bone a few times, it was forced back without results. Second, even though the sea god trident had lost the sea god's heart, it was, after all, a form of divine weapon, and the clear sky hammer's red light had changed after the red light poured inside, and the gap between the two led to a difference in level. The main battleground of the two colors was the deep sea demon whale torso spirit bone that had just fused with Tang San's body, as well as the external spirit bone 8 spider lancers. The golden color representing the sea god energy was bit by bit gaining the advantage, and moreover expanding. That the sea god energy could obtain such a result made Tang San sigh in relief, even though he had long ago guessed the final victor should be the golden sea god. But this battle went on inside his body. How could he help worrying? Tang San of course had a basis for his estimate. Absolutely don't forget that he was now submerged in the ocean, and this ocean was basically the sea god's domain. Here, that red light would clearly have a very hard time fighting the sea god. Even Tang San himself had no idea how much time had passed when that red light was finally forced back to Tang San's left arm. The purple light filling his body had also gradually disappeared. As disappeared. As the gold and red fought, the deep sea demon whale king spirit ring energy had been completely absorbed by Tang San's body. Even though Tang San didn't understand what those two lights did to his body while absorbing the deep sea demon whale king spirit ring, in the end he still successfully finished this crucial step. Unfortunately, even though the sea god energy was powerful, after that red light was restrained to Tang San's left arm, it couldn't be expelled further. With Tang San's shoulder as boundary, the sea god energy occupied the majority, but that red light was still entrenched in Tang San's arm. No matter what, it didn't agree to be removed. The two sides, as clearly separated as the rivers Jing and Wei, one, stopped fighting as the deep sea demon whale king spirit ring energy disappeared. Clearly, they definitely weren't willing to use their own pure energy to struggle with each other, just like two extremely cunning enemies. And the unlucky party was that deep sea demon whale king spirit ring. Finally over. Tang San inwardly exhaled. He would rather fight the deep sea demon whale king again than to experience such torture. In both his hands, the sea god trident's golden light gradually waned, but the clear sky hammer's red pattern showed no sign of disappearing. The red light on the surface only dulled a bit, and on that clear sky hammer, another spirit ring had appeared. A spirit ring that shocked Tang San. The spirit ring appeared pure gold, like Shenrinchu's last spirit ring. The difference was that it didn't have the intense divine presence that Shenrinchu's 10th spirit ring did, but in its place was a deep and immeasurable murderous intent. Was it a million-year level spirit ring, or a god-level spirit ring? Tang San had no answer, but no matter what, this thing was definitely stronger than a 100,000-year spirit ring. Moreover, it also shouldn't be the original deep sea demon whale king's million-year spirit ring he tried to absorb, because it contained the red energy of the variant death god domain. Just how powerful it was would have to be tested in actual combat. Just at this moment, a familiar voice resounded in Tang San's mind. Sea god's 8th trial, perfect. Sea god set, pass. Reward, sea god affinity up 30%, overall affinity 99%. Hearing this voice, Tang San couldn't help scowling. When he completed the 7th trial, draw, divine instrument, sea god trident, his sea god affinity had already reached 85%. But this 8th trial still have 30% affinity. By reason he should be at 115% affinity. Even if the sea god affinity could only go up to 100%, he should still be at that highest 100. Sea god Douluo once told him that when his sea god affinity reached 100%, he would be sea god. And when he accepted the last trial, before inheriting the sea god, the higher this affinity was, the easier the inheritance would be. Could it be that his sea god affinity hadn't reached 100% because he still hadn't accepted the final trial? No, shouldn't be. Lowering his head to look at the sea god trident in his hand, Tang San suddenly understood why his sea god affinity wasn't completed with this 8th trial. Because the sea god's heart was broken. When he inherited the sea god, there might be some variables because of the sea god's heart breaking. Never mind, this 8th trial was already over anyway. As for the circumstances of the sea god's 9th trial and final inheritance, it would wait until they were back on the sea god island and talked to sea god Douluo again. Besides, his great-grandfather was also on sea god island, and he would definitely help him. The blue-silver emperor right leg bones flying ability started, and at the same time Tang San withdrew the clear sky hammer, lightening the sea god trident's weight, and using his buoyancy to swiftly rise towards the surface of the sea. As he ascended, he began to inspect his spirit power. Tang San was shocked to discover that the deep sea demon whale king was worthy of being a million-year spirit beast. Absorbing his spirit bone had vital benefits. First, never mind the attribute changes to his body, just the spirit power increase was an enormous surprise. His spirit power had not only broken the rank 97 bottleneck, but moreover broken 2 ranks in succession, rising straight to peak exceptional Douluo rank 99. Calculating the doubling spirit power increase, it made Tang San confident in even fighting Shenrinchu again. Actually, what Tang San didn't know was that the reason his spirit power had risen so much wasn't only the benefits of the deep sea demon whale king spirit ring and spirit bone. In fact, after his spirit power reached rank 95, increasing each rank was extremely difficult, and while the deep sea demon whale king spirit ring and spirit bone contained enormous energy, it could at most help him rise to rank 98. The reason why he broke through rank 99 was because of that close to intolerable pain. The battle between the sea god's gold and the variant death god domains red inside his body had imperceptibly also brought enormous advantages to his body. That god level clash squeezed and stimulated his spirit power, and having the perfect combination of his now god level body and released energy, this had pushed his spirit power to the limit of humanity. Rank 99. GE succeeded. On the surface, Xiaohui yelled with excitement. They had already waited for a full 7 days. Even though everyone had been relieved when the deep sea demon whale king torso spirit bone was sucked into the sea before, a 7-day wait like this was definitely painful. Even Xiaobai had submerged in the sea several times, but not discovered any traces of Tang San. She only seemed to feel a deeply terrifying presence pulse throughout the sea. Now, that red brand on Xiaohui's forehead flashed with dazzling radiance, and in her mind also echoed that long-missing voice, accompanying the sea god's 8th trial. Complete, reward superpositioned. Just as Xiaohui's words fell, and before anyone had reacted, with a splashing sound, a line of golden light shot towards the sky. Grasping the sea god trident, Tang San had broken out of the water. The clothing he wore before was missing, and the surface of the skin rippled with intense golden light. Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zilking quickly turned away, and even though Xiaohui was equally shy, seeing her man finally return made excitement win out over embarrassment. She shouted excitedly, "GE, we're here." Oscar grinned. "Little San, you're streaking." Tang San then noticed his circumstances and quickly pulled out a robe from the 24 moonlit bridges to wear. No matter how his clothes were damaged, he absolutely wouldn't lose the 24 moonlit bridges and the wishful 100 treasures purse hanging from it. Floating down, Tang San's gaze turned to his comrades, forcefully swinging his fist above his head. The 8th trial is past. All that remains is the last sea god trial. Daimobai smiled. "Then what are we still waiting for? Let's start out immediately." "No, of course we wait." "Tang San, did you forget what I told you?" Xiaobai spoke up to stop them. Under the effect of her energy, the deep sea demon whale king's already putrefying body was supported in the seawater, exposing its enormous head. 1. Rivers Jing and Wei, http://image0.dilly360.com/r w9/gar/mo1/33/2b/wkjeeps2archild out 8pv and q8.8.pub.jpg. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and with suggestions on what novels to read.